How was the transition going from LA to Buffalo?
Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry. I thought you were transitioning out of NFL, but go ahead.
No, yeah, transitioning going from LA, where you were at, the impact you made in LA, and then going out to Buffalo.
Well, so I got waived by the Chargers. I had so many injuries to back to back. You were talking about the compensation thing. Like my Achilles were partially torn, and it kept tearing a little bit more at a time until it eventually popped. But at the time I was compensated, so I had a calf, a hip, a knee. It was just constant, and I just couldn't stay healthy. So finally they had to stop the bleeding, and they waived me. And then when you get waived at the time, the team with the worst record gets first dibs. And at the time, like Buffalo's 0-6, I think 0-6 or 0-7.
Where's your mental at when you get waived? Like all that, you can't stay healthy. Obviously, you get in the tank. It's an up and down ride. Like where were you at mentally?
I was shocked, and it didn't really hit me until I left the building. And so I remember going to. I mean, coaches were crying. I mean, Pags, Pagano. I mean, Manuski. Everybody was just like it was like a dark cloud that day, because I don't think anybody saw me ever leaving the Chargers.
Right.
But I had so many injuries at that time. I couldn't stay healthy. And so, I mean, even when I was talking to the dean and owner, it was a very sad day in that building. And, it was like it was bad. It was a really bad day. And so I left. And then when I walked out the building, that's when it hit me. Because right then, you got somebody to come up and tell you got to go see the owner. You go see the coaches. So you're talking to everybody, but you're not getting the opportunity to take all of that in yet. And it didn't hit me until I walked out the building. I got in the car, and it was like, I didn't cry, man, but I sat there and was like, man, is this real? Like, did I just get cut?
Yeah. Because,
I've never been cut for anything in my life.
Right.
And so I think for me, I hate when people say it's humbling, right? Because it wasn't like I wasn't humble. You just didn't see that happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that people pass away and that's part of life, but you don't feel that till it's somebody really, really close to you.
Yeah.
Right.
It's one of those things where I was like, you've seen people get cut all the time. I think the year before or around that time, like LT, Darren Sproles, like it was guys, Michael Turner who left and went there. So you knew it was guys who were first round draft picks or so was leaving. So I knew it was at one point it was going to happen. It was just how and when it happened I was shocked.
Yeah.
And so I got home, and I would say like not even a day or two, a couple of days went by, and I think that year me and Randy Moss, because he was waived too, me and Randy Moss had the most teams that would claim us off of waivers, because that normally you go through the waiver wire and then you can pick and choose what team.
Right. Then you're a real free
agent. And I think that year me and Randy Moss had tied for like 4 to 6 teams that picked us up on the waivers, but Buffalo had the worst record. And so Buddy Nix, who was behind A.J. Smith, the general manager in San Diego, he was now the general manager in Buffalo. So I remember Buddy Nix calling me, and he was like, Shawne, we can really use you out here in Buffalo. And, we talked for like 5 minutes. I said, look, buddy, I love you to death, man, but I'm not coming out there. I'm not going. And it wasn't because of the city of Buffalo. They were 0-6. They were basically knocked out of the playoffs in the middle of the season, right? Not before the middle of the season, they were pretty much done.
Right.
And I said, buddy, look, I love you to death, man, but let me go into a team that may go to the playoffs, right? And then after the season, now you got my word. I'll come. You'll be the first visit I'll take after the season. And he said, no, we want you out here now, and we think you help us out in the locker room, and I know you can bring. I said, buddy, I hear you, but I'm not coming. I hung up the phone
on a GM.
Yeah, on the GM.
Mm-hmm.
How quick does he call back?
15 minutes. 15, 20 minutes. And so he called back 15, 20 minutes. He said, Shawne, I just want to let you know we put in your contract in the NFL. I said, buddy, I don't care what y'all doing. I'm not coming. So there it is. I hung up again. Called back right back. And they said, well, if you don't come, it's $25,000 a day. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, when y'all sending that plane?
No fucking doubt. Got to get on there right away.
Dude, so this was like a Monday or Tuesday. I forgot it was Monday or Tuesday, but they were literally sending the plane the next day. And I said, hey, buddy, and then Russell Brandon was there too, who's the president, I believe, at the time. And I said, guys, just give me till Thursday. Can you send a plane on Thursday? I'm leaving San Diego to come to Buffalo. I need some time to pack and all this other stuff. So I got on the plane, and I looked at the weather in New York.
Yeah,
but I didn't look at the weather in Buffalo, which is
totally different.
Weather. So I got on the sweatshirt, some basketball shorts, some flip flops on the plane. I got my suitcase and all that. And so I got there and I'm landing. Dude, it's a full on blizzard. It's a full on blizzard.
Toes frozen when you get off that plane.
Dude, I mean, it's full on blizzard outside. And I remember stepping off the plane, and then Buddy and then Russell Brandon, these guys, they were at the end of the runway. I couldn't see them. That's how bad the weather was. I couldn't see them. And I remember,
what have I gotten myself?
Dude, I looked up into the sky. I was like, man, I go to church sometimes. Like I go do a lot of charity. Yeah. I started thinking, I was like, man, what did I do?
Why?
What did I do? And I was dreading it, man. Not because just really it wasn't just like the city and the weather. It was like they just didn't have it. So you're playing for what?
Right.
They're not going to the playoffs, right? But dude, it was honestly, I'll say that it was the best thing that ever happened to me in my career, because I got out there, man. You got a chance to see that fan base and like those people, and I was just out there this past Sunday with them, dude. I was like, man, I played. You feel like you were playing for like family, second cousin or extended for like I got my mom watching the game, or you got family at the game, so you can't disappoint them. So I had that feeling with them, like I couldn't disappoint these people because of the love that they had for their team. Dude, you could be the second or third string kicker and you were the man.
Really?
You get what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
It's all there is out there, bro.
Yeah, man. And
best tailgates ever?
It's something unlike anything. And I know a lot of people see the table jumping and all that other stuff, which is how they got on the map, like in a big way, because of social media and everything else. But dude, it honestly, I remember I was down eating. I was in a restaurant, Chippewa downtown, and people just walking by me was like, "Yo, what's up, lights?" and kept walking. No pictures, no nothing, and it was just like, dude, like there was a cousin that I haven't seen in a while.
That's cool.
And so cool. It's something I like, man. It's a very, very special play. I wish like all these guys that playing like front of not so great fan bases. Or ones that are not really homegrown, like those. I wish they get a chance to experience something like that. It's different.
I had myself a little entanglement with the Bills Mafia one time. It was right after my suspension. We played the Bills. The game was like 13-10, and Shaq Lawson, who was like a backup, was talk shit. And so I tweeted at him, put my phone down. Like an hour later, I had like 200 responses, just Bills people murdering me. I don't even think you had Wi-Fi up there. They fucking got after me. I will never get an entanglement with them ever again.
Dude, it's
passionate.
It's unreal, man. And I think that for them, there's a lot of pride in like that group. You feel like you're at a college game. Like when I was there Sunday, dude, you don't feel like all the glitz and glamour of the pro games. It's like you feel like you're at some school in the South, right? A big, you know what I mean? Like tailgating and all this other, like it's just a different
like a college football spirit out there.
100%.
How big of a difference was it between Buffalo and San Diego as far as the fans went?
I think it's so much to do in San Diego.
Yeah.
Right? Like for you to take your 3 hours of your day or 4 hours to go to a game, it was a lot because you got the nice weather, you got food, you got beaches and everything.
Yeah. You can do whatever you want.
You do whatever you want. I think the difference is with us is that we were so good. We had so many stars on the team from LT and Phillip and Gates and all these guys that people came because of the winning.
Right.
And like,
is this year going to be the year?
Yeah, and so people came there, and the queue was rocking, dude. I mean, we had that place ridiculously, like just crazy. And I still, even looking at it now, I get chills because I was always the last one to come out the tunnel every game. And I did that because of Ray Lewis. So my sophomore year in high school, my high school coaches, remember I was living with them at the time. They say, hey, you want to see a linebacker play? And I'm watching football, but I wasn't watching just yet. It wasn't like
you were digesting.
I was and so they scraped up some money and they took me to a Ravens game. This is in 2000. We sat all the way up there near the light bulbs. We had no money to, so we were like 6 seats up. I could turn around, dude, and like start changing on light bulb and shit. It was like we were. It was the one you're so high up there when you look over, your stomach drop. We were up there.
Right to heights.
Yeah, we were up there, and so they introduced everybody. They had all these guys, Sharper and Goose and Sam Adams and Ballware. Like they had Ed, they were stacked. Chris McAllister, they had that team that would only allow 11 points a game or 10 points, something crazy, right? Everybody comes out and the people are loud, and then it just gets silent. A big pause, and the music dropped. It was a Nelly. It's getting so. Ray came out, the fireworks and smoke, and so when I was growing up, man, I used to laugh at people that used to pass out of concerts.
Yeah,
a Prince or a Michael Jackson concert. I'm like, look at this dumbass,
Right.
But he's just a person.
Yeah,
you're just a human. You're a human being. Like, why are you acting like that towards another human being? Right? I always thought it was dumb, dude, until I saw Ray Lewis. And so it came out there and it was quiet. They introduced everybody. It was already loud, but it just got this pause. And then the place went crazy. And I didn't know what was happening. Fireworks, smoke. And then they was playing Nelly, It's Getting Hot in Here. And he came out and was doing it. And I thought I was going to pass out. Bro, I thought I was going to pass out.
Just seeing this small little speck on the floor. Just so high
dude,
up.
It was so high. If it wasn't for that Jumbotron, I would have thought like ants were down there like moonwalking, right? I would have no clue. But I saw it, and I looked at my coaches, and I was like, man, I'm going to make people feel like how I just felt. And so when I got to the Chargers, there was a guy there who was 6 or 7 years in, Quincy Scott, I think his name was, something like that. And he was the last one that was coming out. And I looked at him and said, I'm coming out last from now on.
As a rookie.
Okay.
As a rookie.
That's crazy.
And so you got it. And that's where the whole thing started. But yeah, I for me, I just I was like, man, that shit, it did something to me that day. And I never, when stuff happened to you as a kid, whether it's good trauma or bad trauma, you remember that.
Core memory.
Yes. And I remembered that at that time, and I was like, I looked at my coaches. I said, I'm going to make people feel like this one day, and that was it. That's how I started. I asked to come out last.
Doc, that is
how
awesome.
sick is that, bro? To like look back on your career and know you got to accomplish things that a rare group of people get to do.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it too, man. It's like even now, like when I go back to Buffalo, and I've been retired. I've retired in 13-ish, year. And the game has changed, it's evolved, and all this other stuff. And when I came out, like social media was just starting to come around, right? So you see all these guys now, they got like big social media followings. You think now that John had 20 million back then at that time,
just that big.
Yeah, because it was huge, man. It was a lot of shit.